skills and enhancing employability capacity. The last lecture we discussed the communication skills, then we moved a little about the presentation skill. We'll talk in detail the presentation skill and also talk about the grooming skills. And for discussion on this very topic, we have in a studio same resource person, Professor Rohan Ubriani. He is a MBA trainer and corporate communication expert. So on your behalf, I welcome Professor Ubriani for EduSet lecture on this very topic. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amrinder Kumar. Good afternoon, students. Today we will be learning soft skills for enhancing employability, in a way the part 2. In the sense that yesterday we covered communication skills, which basically were 5 basic communication skills called speaking, listening, your body language, writing and reading. Now these 5 communication skills are essential for all kinds of the soft skills, and they form an integral part of the other soft skills also, and one of the important ones is the presentation skills. Now let me explain the rationale behind we conducting the session on presentation skills. You see, we all have noticed that there are people who are good presenters and there are people who are not able to present well. Now the basic difference is that, let's take an example. Sometimes we come to go to an event or go to some function or whatever, and somebody says that there's a difference between, there's some delay between one part of the event and the other part of the event. So can you please take up the mic and go to the stage and hold the audience for 2 or 3 minutes. Most people shy away from doing the responsibility because there is a lot of apprehension about addressing the people. So presentation is about looking at, or say presenting a point of view to the people in front of you and with an objective behind. So we will go stage by stage as my slides come up on this topic, and I would like you to pay attention to each of the slides and every point very carefully and see if you could use this skill to enhance your presentation skills, which are essential for your rise in career in the corporate world. We will begin with the introduction. A presentation is always on a serious topic. Its purpose is to inform and to explain and to persuade the audience towards that topic or present a point of view. It may introduce a product or service, explain a process, or narrate an experience. It is usually delivered to a small, knowledgeable audience at a conference, seminar, or a business meeting. See, usually a presentation will consist of the presenter presenting it to about say 10 to 20 people, probably 25, but not more than that, in an enclosed environment, which could be an auditorium or which could be say a conference room or a business meeting in a bigger hall. It is a very limited audience. Now this is different from public speaking, which is usually in a larger environment, which has about 100 odd people, 100 plus, going up to 300-400 or probably 1,000 or more than that also, and that could be in an open environment also. Presentation is a very focused the activity comprising of not more than 20-25 people in that room listening to the presenter. Okay, and it is usually followed by a question answer session. Now without the question answer session, a presentation by any presenter will become incomplete, in the sense that if somebody has spoken on a topic, say about 10, 15 or 20 minutes, now he's presenting a point of view, or he's making a sales pitch, or he's trying to explain the features of a product or a service, or he's only making an argument, and at the end of 20 minutes or something, usually presentation should be of 20 to 30 minutes, unless there's a technical subject where you require a higher more amount of time. So at the end of it, the question and answer session is most critical part of the presentation skills if you have. And why it is most critical? Because a question answer, questions from the audience will tell you how much they have understood and how much they have not understood. It is not practical for any presenter to make his audience understand 100% of what he had said. So a question will confirm two things. One, that people have paid, your audience has paid attention to what you have said, and they have understood a certain portion of your presentation, and they have not understood another portion, the remaining portion of your presentation. So they will ask questions. And it is very important that your presentation should elicit questions from audience. No questions from the audience technically means two things. One, that they have understood it fully and therefore they have no questions, which is rare, which is most unlikely. And the other reason for no questions is very obvious, that people were not interested, they didn't pay attention, so they didn't understand anything, and they don't bother asking anything anyway. So ensure that your presentation makes some sense to people and they ask questions, and you should be ready with the answers, or you should be able to handle it. That is also an art by itself. That is also a skill. The questions coming from any part of the audience, and it could be on any aspect of your entire presentation. Okay. Next we come to the importance of presentation. You see, a well prepared and well delivered presentation is highly appreciated by the audience. A good presenter achieves his or her objectives, be it professional, social or personal. You see, a presentation could be in a professional environment, talking to your buyers, your sellers, your vendors, your colleagues, your clients. It could be anyone. It could also be at a social event also, or it could be a very, very personal presentation also to the people very close to you, and you're making a point. A social environment, say probably there's a function where you are asked to say make a small presentation, or say a presentation comprising 20 minutes on a particular topic for the benefit of a very small audience. Having excellent presentation skills enables you to accelerate your professional career. By a general rule of thumb, in any organization, whether it's small, medium or big sized, I would say a company with say less than 100 people is considered small, company with 100 to say about 400 people considered medium, or say probably a company with 400 plus onwards. There are companies like TCS, so very big organizations who have thousands or lakhs of employees. So they are considered big organizations. So in any organization of any size, a general rule of thumb is that not more than 20% of the people will be good presenters. Good presentation skills are acquired. They don't come to you naturally, and it has to be an effort, and it has to be with a purpose. Usually people with the exposure to the external environment, so for example marketing people in an organization, they are the ones who have to go to the market, they have to meet clients, and they have to make a presentation about the products or the services their company sells to their clients. So clients need to be explained what the product or service is. So it can be done in a very ordinary manner also, by sending a letter or sending a sample or whatever, or it could be made dramatically highly impressive through a PPT, or going to a client and showing all aspects of the product, explaining every attribute or function, and also giving a demo also. This is also part of the presentation. Smart presenters enjoy good reputations and are sought after by a variety of people in business or in other domains of life. You see, having the ability to present well requires a very high level of confidence, engaging people on one-to-one basis. Even in a say place like say a conference room where you have say 20 odd people listening to you, you have to engage each one on a personal level and understand what the requirement are and could be during the course of the presentation. And it requires very high level of confidence, very high level of knowledge, and we'll learn all these things as we go along today's lecture. Okay, how do you plan the presentation? Every presentation, see, okay, to today we are concerned with the structured or prepared presentation skills. Normally a presentation falls into two kinds of, there are basically two kinds of presentations. One is where you prepare well at, at your place, whether it's office or home or whatever. You prepare it and structure it and then go and deliver it on a say scheduled day and time. And the other kind of presentation is called impromptu presentation, where you are required to present or tell about something on the spot without any time given to you or without any advance notice, and which will require a much higher level of understanding and much higher level of ability to connect with people, delivering what is the requirement of the audience at that particular point of time which you are asked to do. Now, the first and foremost part of the planning the presentation is that you have to answer the 5 questions and which are related to any specific presentation, which includes why, who, where, what and how. Which means why. Why, the question is why the presentation is taking place, why it has to be presented, why a particular topic needs to be presented, and what is the purpose. Why actually means the objective, why it has to be done. Who meaning who are your audience, who are your target audience, to whom you are making the presentation, what is their profile, what kind of people they are they my vendors, are they my clients, what are their backgrounds, how much do they buy from us, what are their qualifications, what is their experience, and therefore what are their expectations levels also. Number 3, where are we doing, the physical space, my office, their office, or is it some other conference room or some other venue, a hall, or say some management association's place. It's important to know where are you going to make it, because your comfort level could vary from place to place, and it could also be having an impression on the confidence levels that you have generated. And what are you presenting? What meaning, what is the topic, what is the subject, what issue that you are going to present to this audience at a particular place, and the purpose of it. And lastly, but not least important, is how. How is the method, the process, or the the manner in which you are going to deliver that presentation, whether it's you are going to do it only verbally, or you are going to use say a PowerPoint presentation, or you're going to use charts, data, maps, or probably a film, or you could also be showing the products as a demo, that making it work, that how does it work and how does it, what kind of functions it performs. And the second part of planning the presentation is that the preparation of the script. What you're going to speak should be written down on a piece of paper, and it has to be rehearsed, because it has to be logical and continuous in the manner, so that the audience is able to understand the entire presentation in a very logical and lucid manner. Not that something which is coming haphazard, the latter part is coming first and the initial part is going later. It has to be prepared first and then operated upon in terms of execution, and also keeping the time available in mind. See, you will be given a fixed time to deliver the presentation. It could be 10 minutes, it could be 15 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. Usually it is never more than an hour, unless it is a very, very technical presentation on say some say medical issue or some say engineering issue, where it could require a longer period than 1 hour. But normally it is half an hour to 1 hour, which includes your question hour session also. So you will be told, or you will have that information well in advance, that how much time you have, and when you prepare the script, then you prepare the presentation, how you're going to deliver. And the important thing is that you got to rehearse it also. You know, in a similar environment, you have to simulate in a similar environment, and then you have to deliver the presentation as multiple rehearsals you have to take, so that you time it well with a stopwatch or with some people around who can guide you that okay, if the time available is 20 minutes, your presentation is going to 25 minutes, so you shorten it or curtail it. Or it could be other way around also. If your time available is 20 minutes and you have finished in 15 minutes or 14 or 13 or 12, you have to now elongate it, add more points, so that you take the general rule of thumb is that if you are given 20 minutes, you should be able to finish in 15 to 16 minutes, leaving 4 or 5 minutes for question hour session. And you should be very confident that questions will come, and then you will be able to finish your entire 20 minutes given to you. The next point is style of presentation. Now, style of presentations are basically two. There are two styles. One is either conversational versus formal. Now, conversational is that as if like you're talking to people one to one, and this is the way you would otherwise be speaking in a normal environment also with the people around. And in a formal environment, when you make a formal presentation, then the personal touch is reduced to a large extent, and mostly the focus is there on the topic or the subject matter by itself, which means that in a conversational where you engage people and you keep taking them along as they understand, and they are usually on the topics which are general in nature. And the formal presentations are generally on technical issues, so that you stay focused on the technical part and you don't expect any conversational issue to come in between. And the second style of presentation is simple and lucid. Simple and lucid usually covers general interest subjects. It could be any psychological subject, it could be a subject like this also, that you're talking about soft skills, or you could be talking about say leadership, you could be talking about the people skills, which are general in nature and which are simple, which can actually lend themselves to the simple and lucid form of presentation, as opposed to where you have to do a very impressive and explanatory presentation. Impressive and explanatory, actually impressive is a general word, but here it is used largely for the technical presentation, where you have jargons to deal with. See, suppose a very senior doctor, or say very senior surgeon is presenting it to say 20, 30 experts of his level, or probably little junior, and he's explaining a particular new discovery or invention in say pharmaceutical or say medical world, or he's explaining a process or a procedure, how to go about conducting that particular operation. There the words will be very, very technical. They'll be using a lot of jargons, and it will require a very detailed explanation also, that how it is to be done and what kind of equipment to be used, what processes to be involved. So there it becomes more of focused technical presentation rather than simple and lucid. Those presentations can't be simple and lucid, whether it's pharmaceutical or medical or engineering or technology oriented. Why even software development presentations also cannot be simple and lucid, because they require technical jargons and their detailed explanation also. Last but not the least, every presentation must have some element of humor also. People tend to lose their attention if there is a serious topic being discussed for a continuous period of time. Humor could be at the beginning of the presentation, just to break the ice with the people. You could crack a joke, or just to bring their attention into the focus on your presentation. It should be related to what you're going to talk about. Or it could be in the middle of the presentation. You could bring something which is of funny in nature, or it could be towards the end. Ideally, you should have 2 or 3 junctures where you could bring in say 15-20 seconds of bit of a light-hearted humor, so that it brings people back into the attention, entertains them a bit, and then brought them back into the serious mode of paying attention to your presentation. Next is your presentation structure. Now, when you have prepared a script, post that you have to focus on the creating a structure, that what will be your opening of the presentation, then the middle part of it, and then the closing. Now, in the opening part, you have to be very clear that what is your objective. You have to state the objective. Stating the objective, exactly why that presentation is taking place. And then second part, very important part in opening, is creating a rapport with the audience. You have to look into the eyes of your audience and see whether they are, paying attention or they are looking sideways. You have to look at, again, as we discussed yesterday also, the body language also, what they're doing with their face, what they're doing with their arms, whether they're looking straight to the presenter or they're just waiting for, the presentation to get over. Create a rapport with the purpose that, look, I am here to make this presentation for the benefit of you people. That there is something which I need to explain to you, which will benefit or enhance your knowledge and information, which will or which could help you do your, perform your professional duties better than before. And you have to draw an outline of the presentation. What I mean by the outline is that, okay, this presentation will be on this topic, and these are the 5 takeaways that I would like my audience to, gain. For example, suppose you're making a presentation on, let's say communication skills that we talked about yesterday. It will be easier to relate to because we have already gone through that. Now, post a presentation like that on a subject like communication skills, people, what my intention would be as a presenter for people, among the takeaways that they should have from my presentation after the presentation is over, is that they must understand the importance and their criticality in the course of pursuing their professional career in any organization that they work for. If they have issues regarding language, if they have issues regarding delivery of their, if they can't express what they have to, whether it's to a boss, to a client or to their colleagues, and if they do not have good command over language, they are not able to, then it will hamper their career. So the first takeaway would be that, they should understand the importance of developing or improving their communication skills. Second takeaway could be that post realizing the importance, they should make an assessment of their own skills, that how much, how well versed they are in these traits or these skills. And third would be that they should look for a particular training environment where they could go and improve upon them. So this outline will give you the objective and the takeaways that people should have from the presentation that presenter is making. In the middle, you have to work on the main body, that once you have given the first, the indication of what the subject is going to be, and then main body will consist of mainly examples, visual aids, and explanation of the topic in points priority wise. What is more important, then less important, then less important. Not that anything is of no importance, but usually there are some points which carry more importance than the other, so they have to be on a priority wise also. And then the last part is your closing the presentation. At the end of the presentation, when you have made your point, should give a clear message of the presentation. What you intended to deliver to the audience who have heard your presentation, who have seen your presentation. And then summarize the presentation. And it is the duty of the presenter at the end of the presentation to invite queries. That if you have any questions or any comments to make, then I'm more than happy to react to that also. And lastly, but not again less important, we thank the audience and the organizers for giving you that opportunity to present. Now the next part in our presentation skills session today is you'll have to organize the presentation in terms of what is the occasion that you're presenting on. Whether it's a general sales call where you're going to a client and making a presentation, it could be an annual day of your company, it could be some kind of a national event where you are asked to make a presentation and talk about it. It could be Independence Day, it could be 26 January, it could be a general subject, it could be your official topic also. The occasion is very important to take into account while organizing the presentation. And then next is audience analysis. What we do in audience analysis is that usually you have to profile the audience, what kind of people they could be, psychographically, demographically, and your geographically, where the areas that they come from, and what kind of medias they're exposed to, what their expectations are given their background. You have to analyze the audience. Accordingly, your presentation will have that kind of form so that it makes sense to the people who have come to listen to you. And environment and location analysis. Where are you going to make the presentation is of extreme importance. See, if you could be more comfortable making a presentation in your office, when you go to somebody else's stuff, somebody else's office, or say a new place, familiarity with the location or with the, say, hall or the conference room that you're going to make a presentation in has a great bearing on the level of the presentation that you will be creating through your confidence or your ability to understand the environmental cues also. Also, you have to see what visual aids are required in delivering your presentation. What kind of, are you going to give any handouts to the people so that they will be listening to you for the 20-25 minutes of your presentation, or say 30 minutes, whatever it could be. Mostly it is a general belief that what you have heard at the end of it, probably a certain portion of it can only be retained by the audience. To aid their memory or to fortify or reinforce what you have presented, you hand over a handout also for their future reference as well. And a feedback form. A feedback form is a very important and a powerful tool. What does it do? It actually gives you the measure of your ability to present well. A feedback form, a feedback of the audience about your presentation skills is a great power that you get. If whatever criticism or the praise is there, it exactly tells you that what impression it has made on the audience. You may think that you may be a great presenter, but if audience says that on a parameter of say 10 points, you are good in 6 and bad in 4, so you got that information which you didn't have, that there are 4 areas which you need to improve upon. Feedback is most critical for any presentation. Rehearsals, I think we already talked about it a little earlier also. Rehearsals will improve. Every rehearsal, every succeeding rehearsal will be better than the previous one, and the more rehearsals you do, the better the presentation would be. And once, say suppose you have done say 10, 20 or 25 rehearsals, when you are making a final presentation in a real environment, it will not be something that you will be doing it for the first time. You will have the benefit or the power of having done that job 25 times earlier, so it becomes relatively easier and comfortable to present post rehearsals. See, this is what people do in say films also, and say dramatic societies also, where rehearsals form an integral part of the entire effort, whatever they are going to make, whether it's film or a play in an auditorium. A well rehearsed play will have a very smooth performance coming from the performers or the actors. It's the same thing. The presenter is also a performer. So the more rehearsed he is, the better impact he will have on his audience. Physical appearance and body language of the presenter is of great importance. He should be neatly dressed. He should be well dressed, dressed according to the occasion. If the occasion requires, if your audience is going to have say absolutely formal clothing, then you should also be in a formal suit and a tie or whatever. And if they are going to be say in a semi-formal environment, you're also expected to be in the same, because you have to connect with the audience. You shouldn't look very different from what your audience is. 15-20% of difference is acceptable, but there couldn't be a drastic difference between the way you are dressed up and the way your audience are. And body language, I think we have covered it in a great detail yesterday also. So we'll touch upon it in a very short manner. That body language primarily includes, you've got to keep an eye contact with the audience, and also look at the facial expressions and their bodily movements, gestures, postures, and get the cues that where is your presentation going. Is it being appreciated, or is it being elongated unnecessarily? And you have to pay attention to the points that you have come prepared for, and then you're delivering those points, and people are understanding and appreciating those points also. If need be, you could deviate from your main presentation to 5 to 10% to bring their focus back into the presentation. And the last thing in this organizing the presentation point is the overcoming the nervousness. Now this is a major issue with lot many presenters, that they may have rehearsed in their own environment, among their own people, among the friends or the colleagues or the family members or whatever, and those are the people who have, because of the relationship that they have with you, they probably would have said fine, everything is okay, and that's fine, and you feel comfortable presenting it to people, say, whom you're known to. But when it comes to final delivery, when you actually go to that stage to make a presentation, you find that in front of you there are, say, most of the people that you are addressed to, or say, the focused on, are strangers, and you develop a fear of being judged, and the fear of people finding flaws and faults with you in your presentation, whether it's the matter of the presentation or whether it's the manner of the presentation. So that creates nervousness. This can only go with experience, with practice. The more presentations you make, the better presenter you become, and you become more confident of delivering a well-prepared presentation very well, and not be afraid of any stranger in the audience. Usually strangers in the audience create a nervousness for you, because you believe that probably you don't know them and they could find flaws or fault or whatever, or they may even laugh at your, say, some mistake or some folly or something that you forget or something which you're not doing right. So these apprehensions create nervousness, which can be overcome as the time goes and you make more and more presentation, and ultimately you get over this particular negative aspect of the presentation. Now, what are the qualities of a skillful presenter? A good presenter is lively, is enthusiastic, interested in the topic, and considers it vital to the audience. He also has a sense of responsibility to the audience and tries to say something that will be worth the listener's time. See, people are investing their time in listening to you. Time is a big resource. So nobody at the end of a presentation ideally should have the feel that they have wasted their time listening to you. It's exactly like people go to a film. They buy a ticket, say, for 150, 200 rupees. They expect to be entertained. They expect their money's worth to be delivered to them through a good, entertaining film. Now, sometimes it happens and people come out happily and they say, fine, it was like paisa vasool, that whatever the money they spent the money and they spent the time. Both are resources. And they got the worth of it, so that gives a great satisfaction. On the other hand, at times you come out and say the film was not so good, it was so bored, and it was so bad and it was boring and it was a waste of my time and money. Now both the reactions are applicable on any performance. So one has to ensure as a presenter that at the end of his presentation, ideally nobody should have that feeling that they have wasted their time with you. They're not paying money to attend to a presentation, but at least it should be well worth their time. Whatever time they spend, they should have a sense of learning. That's something they have gained by putting their time into your presentation. Also, he should have the responsibility of time, but not taking other presenters' time also. See, sometimes, say for example, the presenters, you could be one of the presenters in a conference or a seminar. So where there are, say, it's a day-long seminar or a conference where there are two sessions, say pre-lunch or post-lunch, and in each session you got, say, 4 presenters presenting, and each one is allotted, say, 30 minutes of time. So if you are given 30 minutes or 25 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever time you have been given, you should be told that in advance. You will be told that in advance, and you should rehearse it again. I'm impressing that point. You should rehearse it so well that you should exactly finish your presentation in that stipulated time, so as not to encroach upon your next speaker's time. Because if you take even 5 minutes from his time, he will be hard pressed to finish his presentation within the time, and he will be stressed also to finish that. And it is not appreciated by anyone, neither by the next presenter, nor the organizers, nor the audience also, that you take longer than what is the time given to each speaker. And lastly, in this particular slide, they should have a sense of responsibility of the subject. What does it mean? The subject could be a general subject, it could be a sensitive subject, it could be a woman-oriented subject also. I mean, I don't have to go on giving examples on this thing. I'm sure you people are in a position to understand what I'm talking about. So, if there is a sensitive topic or if there is a controversial topic, it's a responsibility of the presenter that what he should do is to stay focused on the salient points of that issue and not present his personal views on that controversial or a sensitive topic, which could have a provocative aspect, which could lead to a negativity among the people in the audience. So he should remain very focused, ethical, fair, and professional about giving the presentation, even if the subject happens to be a controversial or sensitive topic. Next is he has a sense of leadership. What is leadership? Leadership, I think there are books and books written on this topic. My view on leadership is that a leader is the one in whom the people have faith on. Leadership is never thrust upon. As he goes about presenting his topic, a presenter should emerge as the leader of that audience. They should be shaking their heads in affirmative. They should be agreeing with him. They should, even if they are not agreeing, they should be able to appreciate a difference in the point of view. They must have the impression that presenter, while he is being a good presenter, he is also a responsible person and he is delivering the presentation in a responsible manner. What is the responsible manner? One responsibility is that he should deliver the knowledge to the audience who have come to listen to him in their presentation. Secondly, he should be able to handle that topic in such a manner that all kinds of people, whether they are in favor of the topic or against the topic, all people should appreciate that what he is presenting is a fair view of the topic, and he is not bringing his personal bias or personal prejudices. See, it could be a presentation on a regional or say a religious topic also. So different people could have different views on those different aspects of that particular topic. But a presenter's responsibility is to present a fair view, a balanced view, and not bring his personal biases or prejudices into his presentation. So at the end of it, whether people are agreed with you on what you have said or disagreed with you, they should have a great respect for your fairness and deftness of handling the topic. This is what leadership is all about. He should also stand tall. Stand tall is a physical, say, attribute of presentation, but it also communicates that stand tall meaning you can't become taller than what you are, but that your shoulder shouldn't be hunched, you shouldn't be stooping, you should stand straight, and it exudes confidence that yes, you are prepared well. It is exactly like when you go for an exam. If you are prepared well, your body, it shows on your face, it shows in your body, it shows in your walk also. And if you're not prepared well, and then that also shows. There's a huge difference between the way you look, the way you walk, the way you talk, when you're prepared and when you're not prepared. It's the same thing. You tend to stand more firmly on the ground, and rather than stooping when you're not well prepared well. Make an eye contact. This is a very important thing. If you're not making eye contact, then the presentation is not going to be good at all, because I think this we covered yesterday also in our discussion, that eye contact conveys that what you're saying, what you're saying is truth. You're truthful about whatever is being delivered. The people looking sideways, shifting eyes or shifting looks, and not able to meet the people's eyes, it shows lack of confidence, and that emanates from that your presentation is not completely factual. There are some assumptions, or there are some ambiguous areas which you're not very sure about, and you're delivering by not making contact with the audience. Making eye contact is extremely important. And you should speak reasonably and with authority. Reasonably from the perspective that you must have a good reason to deliver different aspects of the topic. they should be based on the reason and logic, not something which is based on hunch or assumption. And if your entire presentation is based on truth and facts, then the authority of delivering those truths and facts should come through in the voice and in the words that you are speaking. A good skillful presenter is also positive. He doesn't have a negativity. Even if somebody is not agreeing, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to make everyone agree with you. You have to remain positive. Then there are people who will disagree with what you say. Remain positive, friendly, not quarrel with people. If there is a question in the question answer session, somebody asks a question and you are given an answer, and the other person is not satisfied with your answer, then remain friendly, and probably you could have 1 or 2 or 3 rounds of discussion on that. At the end of it, you can always say that we can agree to disagree on this issue, but not pick up a fight. Don't quarrel with the audience ever, and remain straightforward. No sideways, or say those answers which are not clear. If you know the answer, say it so. If you have a problem answering, then you say that I have not covered this point. I'm sorry about that. That I'll get back to you if you give your contact details. But never fudge. Never try to fool people. Remain straightforward. Next is a skillful presenter keeps head on shoulder, which means does not let his or her confidence turn into overconfidence. Having confidence is a great thing, is very positive. It should be there. Overconfidence actually puts people off. Your audience will switch off. They will stop paying attention. They'll say, fine, I mean, if you're too confident about what you're saying, then why we come to talk to us anyway? So that should never reflect. Even if you are overconfident, you have to suppress it and bring it to the level of exuding confidence, as if like you have prepared well. It shouldn't be overbearing on your audience. And you should accept feedback and benefit by it. Even if the feedback is negative, even if the feedback is contains criticism, doesn't matter. A criticism will let you improve upon the points which you believe that you have delivered well, but they have not been accepted or received well by the audience. So there is always a communication gap. So long it is up to the 20% level, it's understandable that what you believe that you have delivered well and has not been received well by audience, then you have to see where the problem is, where the issues are. And the feedback tells you, and the feedback and the people giving feedback, they are your important aspect of your improvement. How will you improve? Unless you know there is a problem in a particular aspect of your delivery, you will not be able to do anything about it. You will not try to find a solution. You have to understand that there is a problem, and that problem will come from the feedback and the people who are delivering that feedback to you. Okay. Now, use your visual aids in presentations. Visuals help audience pay attention with focus. They also help both presenter and the audience. In fact, the visuals they convey better than the words written on a screen or the words spoken through the mouth. Presenters also use them for presenting points, to illustrate with diagrams, to exhibit data. And audience get a reinforcement through eyes for what they hear and can see a visual summary of points. Visuals are easier to learn from as compared to, as I said, as compared from written word or written or say spoken word. And the second part in visual aid is posters. Posters can be displayed almost anywhere. Flip charts require an easel or a stand. Flip charts, you must have seen a lot of people using in the olden days. They draw something on a paper. It could be a double the A4 size or whatever. They draw something or write something, and then they keep flipping. And then the next came was overhead projectors, OHPs. It's very popular and available in most places. It uses slides made of transparencies. You may write, draw, or type on them. And the third is the latest technology, or say in software that we use in the computers. PowerPoint projections is the latest method used these days. It allows to present not only text information but also static visuals, photographs, illustrations, charts, tables, and even motion pictures, videos. They could all be a part of your presentation, and it can enrich your presentation for the benefit of the audience, so that they are being covered through a spoken word, through a written word, through a visual, a photograph. It could be an actual photograph, it could be a graphic, and it could be an animation film also, and it could also be a normal short film also. Okay, see, with this we have come to the end of the presentation skills. I hope that you have understood, as I would have expected you to understand, the importance of presentation skills and what needs to be done to improve your presentation skills. Now, the next thing that I would like to share with you are the grooming skills. Okay. See, in personal grooming, we all, before I begin, talking about the personal grooming aspect, please understand that this is an important element of the professional life, because we all, whether we work in our offices or businesses, or whether we are studying somewhere, it's a very natural thing for us to get up in the morning and get ready and go to the office. We spend a certain amount of time every day, and if you look at from a life's angle, that a large part of our life, I mean a significant part of our life, is spent getting ready to go somewhere, whether it's place of work or sometimes it will be a personal function also. We pay attention to look good, and it has a great bearing on the professional career growth. Some people may not agree with it, but it is a fact of life, because you are what you look like. Now, this statement is a very old statement, and it is so true in all spheres of life, in every aspect of life. And see, unless and you don't have to look film star. I mean, see, none of us has a film star looks. But whatever the face of the body that God has given us, we have to present it well to the people that we are, exposed to, or we meet, or we interact with. Being well groomed is a source of enhanced confidence. When you are well dressed, say, okay, let's talk about you may or may not be exposed to the corporate life or corporate world, but at least we all go to social functions, and we know for sure that whether it's a marriage or a party, or whether it's a personal function that we go to, we take time to get ready, and sometimes we are rushing from some place and we don't get enough time to get ready for a particular marriage or a party or whatever, and we are not able to do a good job in terms of getting ready. So when you get good time to get ready, you become you are well groomed, well dressed, and then you feel very good. You have great confidence. But when you have not been given time, and if you have to rush from one place to another without spending time on grooming, then your level of confidence is low also, because you know that you could have done something better. And the looks on the faces of the people tell you everything. That whether they appreciate your being groomed or dressed in a particular manner, or if you have not taken, if you didn't bother to dress well for the occasion, you get to know it from the looks of the, the words of the people. They react to the whichever way you look. Also, see, when you work in a corporate, we say that there must be a fine balance between style and substance. Style refers to the look that we carry from head to toe, the whichever way you make up your face or whatever. That will all come up in the next few slides. That the way you look, and substance refers to that the work that you are given, the responsibility that you have in the organization, how well you are able to do your work. Now, some people believe that only knowing how to do your work is sufficient. No, both have their importance. And what you're talking about, the fine balances, doesn't mean that 50-50, the importance is attached to both of them. Depending upon the environment that you operate in. You see, in a corporate, probably 80% importance is attached to the kind of work that you do and 20% to your looks. And when you go to an industry like, say, a film industry or say, fashion industry, the entire balance becomes reverse. The 80% to your looks and 20% to the kind of work that is you are required to do. Okay. In the section 1, we will cover the aspect about the face. Our face is our first introduction to all people who look at it. We get judged by it to a certain extent. Our look is an integral part of first impression is a last impression. Therefore, we should be extremely careful and smart in presenting our best face forward. How? Let's see that. For face grooming concerning men and women, first part that I would like to cover is the hair part. They should be well washed. Okay, please, before I go further, please understand, I am talking about these aspects from a professional and official perspective, not from the personal perspective, in the sense that how you do all these things in a personal environment is your personal, issue. But when it comes to working in an official professional environment, the organizational expectations are on these lines which I'm going to talk about now. So please understand that these are the expectations from the companies or the organizations that you're going to work for, and they have to be adhered to a large extent. Otherwise you look very odd in that crowd of people working in that company. They should be well washed, shampooed, no dandruff. They should be neatly combed, groomed, no long, unruly, loud, stylish, spiky hair. You see, all these stylish or spikies are all, they're fine in your personal environment. Going to a friend's party, going to a marriage, or going to a birthday party, whatever, they all look fine. In your personal environment, you're moving around, whatever you do, it's okay. But when you go to the office, they are usually not appreciated. They may cover a certain portion of your forehead, but decidedly not touch your eyebrows, because beyond that, your face gets covered more and more. They should not cover any other part of your face also. They should sit fixedly on your head. They should not fall up front while talking or shaking head, requiring frequent jerking back to push them backwards. You see, if you're sitting in a meeting and all the time you're just jerking your hair back and forth, it will take away the attention of the people attending that meeting, including your seniors also, and they will take an offense to that too. No wet or oily, smelly hair, no palm trees, no unnatural colors. No headgear, cap, hat, bandana, headscarf, except for a decent clip or bandana for women. For Sikh gentlemen, they do use obviously the patkas or turbans that they use. And matching, it should always be matching their attire. Attire meaning it should go well with the kind of the shirt or trousers or the suit that they're wearing. Women should not put their long hair up front. They are best kept behind the shoulders. Do not run your hand into hair frequently. Refrain from putting your side hair behind the ears frequently. These acts reflect nervousness. See, all the time just putting, running your hand into the hair, if it is so frequent, then it takes away again the attention of the people, and if you're in a client meeting with your seniors around, then it can spell trouble for you also. The second part will be regarding the face. It should be well washed. You may use some cream or aftershave, but they should not be too loud. Women should avoid elaborate makeup which is clearly visible as such. The objective of makeup is to enhance facial features in such a way that it should appear to be natural and not made up. And also you need to trim facial, nose or ear hair. They look unkempt. If you're sitting in a meeting, these things could actually, draw unnecessary attention also. And they say, leave all your nose rings, eyebrow rings, lip rings, and other piercings at home. Okay. And as we, understand, the other parts of, the grooming is that basically covers your dress sense and also your the accessories that you carry. I believe for the paucity of time, we would look at covering those aspects in our next lecture whenever it takes place.
Briefly, you may continue. Briefly, you can explain the things so that.
Okay. See, in fact, the dress, as they say, you dress to impress, and your attire in a professional environment, it should be such that it shouldn't be, too casual, like t-shirts and all, jeans and all, not, preferred in a corporate environment. It should be a formal shirt or a trouser in summers, especially in the context of India. We have a large portion of the year running into summers. I mean, we have about 7, 8 months or 9 months of summer. So, say a formal trouser or formal shirt will do the job. And in winters, probably you could wear a suit with a tie and probably cover, use a sweater also at times. But they shouldn't be too loud. Again, they should not be too garish, too designer. And women also, they also have the option of, like sari is considered to be a very formal dress in our environment. And their suits also, the Punjabi suits or whatever that they wear. All Indian dresses can be used as formal attire in a corporate environment, provided they are not majorly designed or majorly garish, majorly loud, too colorful. No, they should be subtle, and they should convey, they should enhance your personality rather than take away the attention. It should bring respect from the people around you. And one should, like, for example, small things like, one should carry a decent pen also when you go to a meeting or go to work. You should have, neatly well polished leather shoes when you wear. You don't have to wear, I mean, in corporate life, you can't go to the office in, say, sport shoes or sneakers or, floaters or, any stylish chappals, whatever. Not appreciated much. It has to be a formal attire. From head to toe, you should look extremely presentable. And all your personal likings or towards a certain kind of attire or say t-shirts or jeans or they can be done in your personal environment. There is no issue with that. I mean, you can meet your friends or move in your social environment whichever way you want to, whichever way you're dressed. That's not a problem. Caps or wearing or say carrying some kind of a wearing some bandana or carrying some kind of a muffler or whatever, that's okay. But corporate, there are expectations of people to follow a certain code of dress, which you get to understand by looking at people also. But it's better that if you know it already and then you begin your career, then you have an advantage over your colleagues also, and it will enhance your professional career that much better. In corporate, yes, 20%, 25% importance is given to the way you look from head to toe. That's all.
So now, as you explained that these are the essential traits one need to have for enhancing the employability. So my question is about the study point or knowledge which you discussed was one need to study at least 2 books. So the books, of course, one is related to the subject which you have, another is any topics which is related to your professions. To my point, how one can show or express their knowledge, or you can say that he can best way or it can be more useful for the desired job, intended job, intended objective of the organization. How can they express this?
Okay, see, as I said briefly in my earlier part of the lecture, that see, presentation skills are, as if we cover presentation skills first, see, in that the basic structure or how to create a presentation, for making a presentation, that I have already explained. But I think the most important aspect of any presentation skill is the rehearsal, the practice, the experience. The more you practice, it's like cooking. You see, the first time you may not be able to cook a great meal or a great say you won't be able to make a great chapati or great sabji or great any dish. But as you practice, as you go along, you tend to become better and better, and your skill gets superior. So rehearsal is a very important part. And as I said again in my early part of my presentation also, that in any organization you will not find more than 20% people having excellent presentation skills, and they are the ones who keep rising faster than anybody else in the organization also. Because presenting a point of view to a section of people, whether it's 10, 20 or 25, usually presentation is confined to these kind of numbers. Presenting a point of view to a section of people requires a great level of confidence, a great level of knowledge, and a great level of desire to make impressions on the people, to impress with your knowledge or your skills. And if, say, for example, in any organization it happens, as the time goes, the triangle gets tighter. See, if there are say 10 managers at say middle level, you'll find only 4 GMs and 2 VPs and 1 CEO. So if out of these 10 managers to be promoted to 4 GM levels, so they will select the 4 best people out of those 10. So they may have the same technical qualifications, whether it's MBA, engineering or medical or whatever. They will look at additional skills like these soft skills, communication skills, presentation skills, to select 4 out of those 10. And then out of those 4 GMs, which will become 2 VPs, it will again go back to the same, the process of elimination and selection, that who are better than the other 2. And see, if it is a company like say Maruti, so everyone from the junior level, everyone is an automobile engineer. So whether he has become GM or a VP, they are automobile engineers and they are well experienced. Now how do you promote 2 out of 4 to the next level? So then the soft skills come into play, and presentation skill is a very, very key skill that is required to move up. And a CEO has to necessarily be a good presenter. He cannot become a CEO if he is not a good presenter of the people.
Okay.
He has to take people along.
So, well friends, with this where we like to conclude the lecture. I thank all of you for watching the lecture, and on your behalf I thank Professor Rohan Ubriani for giving such a insightful lecture on softer skills. Thank you very much.